Hi, my name is Mindy. I'm with Astrology.by.love, and today I was wanting to talk about Ricky Gervais. He just recently made a splash over here in the United States at the Golden Globes. He was the host of the Golden Globes and had a rant in the beginning that kind of put celebrities in their place, and it went viral. So he said a lot of things that I guess a lot of people agreed with, and I just wanted to see if we could see it in his chart, like what was going on. This is Ricky's chart right here. So he was born on June 25th, 1961 in Reading, England. I got this chart off of astrology.by.love. They're great. You should check them out. So just go ahead and begin. So the first thing I noticed about Ricky's chart was his YOD. So if you remember from the Jesse Smollett video, a YOD is a Hebrew word for finger of God, and it implies a destiny in one's life. Sometimes this is an event or maybe a lifestyle, but whatever it is, it impacts and changes the people that are around you. And maybe in a smaller manner, Ricky's was, showcased internationally, but maybe it's publicized and maybe it's not, but the YOD in the chart means that the person is here for a reason, and is here to change things. So the planets involved in Ricky's YOD are his Sun, Mercury, Orcus conjunction right here. We're going to talk about Orcus in just a minute. It's pretty cool. Then it also involves Jupiter here in Aquarius, and then Pluto down here in Virgo. So you can see it's the green dots right there. So that's what we're going to be talking about. Ricky's Sun, Mercury, and Orcus conjunction are in the sign of Cancer. And Ricky does have his Sun and Mercury conjunct, which is very prevalent in people in Hollywood. Anytime someone's, not anytime, but a lot of times when people are seen, they're at the forefront of even like a small community, a lot of times Mercury's conjunct their Sun. And then, so that means Ricky with Mercury and Sun conjunction, he's known for his speaking or thinking or both. A lot of times people with the Mercury Sun conjunction are intelligent, and you can hear them coming before you see them. So they, they're known for the way they speak and think. And when Orcus is in the mixture, it brings an intensity to him, a little bit of darkness, a cutting edge, so to say. He can be super focused and obsessed with his words and his thoughts. Orcus is a recently discovered planet. It's named after the ancient Roman god of the underworld. Pluto is the Greek god of the underworld, so almost the same, but not quite. Orcus was discovered in February 2004. Pluto was discovered in 1930. We've been able to study Pluto for 90 years now. Pluto's ruled by Scorpio. It's known for, earth-shattering death and rebirth processes in our lives, and can, disrupt things in our lives and turn it on its head. Pluto will throw tests and obstacles at whatever planet or point it's making contact to in the chart. And like I said, it messes with things, and, you're definitely changed by Pluto transit. And Orcus seems to be its mirror image twin, and seems to do the same thing. We've only had 16 years to study Orcus, but in the sky it does mirror Pluto. Pluto has a very angular orbit. So while most every other planet's orbit is mostly horizontal, going around the sun, Pluto's is at an almost 45-degree angle, going this way. So Pluto's known as a dwarf planet and has one very large moon that's always facing it. So they're both facing each other, which is also something that makes Pluto unique. And they face each other as they spin around a central point. So Pluto's not the central point, and the moon's not the central point, but they spin around a central point. And that has made Pluto unique for almost 100 years. Pluto's moon is named Charon, Charon, not like the asteroid Chiron, Charon. And they rotate around each other as they go around the orbit. So that's why you have it appears Pluto goes back and forth in the sky. That's why you don't have a singular Pluto transit, but multiple, because Pluto and Charon are spinning as they go around the orbit. So they come back and forth. Sometimes as many as 8 times you'll have a Pluto transit because it's going back and forth. Sometimes only 4 or 5. It just depends on the point and where it's at spinning in the sky. And so I'm mentioning all this about Pluto for the sake of Orcus. Orcus, too, has an angular degree of its orbit, but it's going the opposite way of Pluto. So while Pluto's going this way, Orcus is going this way. So they don't hit each other, but they look like an X. And then there's a sun in the middle, and the rest of the planets are going horizontally. Almost looks like an atom. And Orcus, too, does have an angular degree. It is opposite of Pluto's. And Orcus, too, also has a very large moon named Vance. And Vance faces Orcus as it spins around a central point. So once again, Vance isn't necessarily rotating around Orcus, and Orcus isn't rotating around Vance. They're rotating around that singular point, just like Pluto. So, I've seen a lot of references to Orcus being the anti-Pluto, and I really don't like that. I see more as Orcus being Pluto's mirror image twin. They're very complementary. So, when you meet twins and one's right-handed and one's left-handed, but they look the same, this is kind of how Orcus appears to be operating with its mirror image twin Pluto. Orcus does seem to provide the same depth and intensity and the change that you can't go back from. In the charts that I've studied with it, Orcus does provide those same changes and those same dynamic interventions and cataclysmic moments. Ricky Gervais, who we're talking about, has Orcus just over 2 degrees from his Mercury, which does show us Ricky can be dark, also deeply insightful, and maybe a little bit psychic in the way he thinks. So the Sun Mercury Orcus in the water sign of Cancer also provides Ricky, like I said, some intuition and psychic ability, just like Pluto would. And especially being in the sign of Cancer, because that's a very emotional, psychic sign anyways. Ricky thinks deeply and emotionally, and this does show in his speech as a comedian. Speaking of Pluto, it's also involved in this YOD. So, like I had said earlier, YODs are 2 inconjunct angles that come to a point. So an inconjunction is 150 degrees. The inconjunction from Pluto to Jupiter is almost exact. They're both at 5 degrees with several minutes. And then the one, the 3 degrees, 6 degrees, 9 degrees is what this conjunction is, and it goes to the 5-degree Jupiter. So that's very, very close. So the thing about inconjunct angles is that the planets involved are usually in 2 signs that totally don't get each other, totally don't mesh well. For instance, Ricky's Pluto is in Virgo, which is an earth sign with mutable energy. And it is in conjunct Jupiter in Aquarius. Aquarius is a fixed air sign. So fixed air and mutable earth have a hard time connecting and seeing each other's point of view, but there's contact between these 2 planets in the YOD. So the point from Jupiter to the conjunction that we were talking about between the Sun, Mercury, and Orcus, the Sun, Mercury, Orcus is in the sign of Cancer. So that is cardinal water. So you've got 3 different elements, 3 different modalities, and that's part of what makes an inconjunction so hard. It's energies that are working together, but they don't make sense. So, unfortunately, like I mentioned earlier, I do not have Ricky's exact birth time. So I can't tell you exactly where these energies play out in his life. Jupiter in Aquarius, though, makes me think of his success in Hollywood. Aquarius tends to bring people of all types together. They have, Aquarians usually have many unusual friends with vastly different ideas and cultures, which makes me think a lot of Hollywood. Jupiter is the planet of abundance and expansion and good fortune, And when you look at Ricky's planet of abundance in Aquarius, not connecting real well with Pluto, depth and intensity, in Virgo, and also not connecting real well with his ego, sun, and intensity and communications and thoughts, you can start to see his cutting, dry sense of humor. And, it works for him. He does well in show business, and, he's where he's supposed to be. Like I said earlier, the reason I'm doing Ricky's chart is he recently made such a big splash at the Golden Globes by being rude to Hollywood and putting them in their place. The north node of the moon is currently transiting the constellation of Cancer, and had just passed over Ricky's natal Orcus, and was 2 degrees away from his natal Mercury at the time of the show. So this YOD was being triggered, in that conjunction between his sun, Mercury, and Orcus was being triggered by the north node. So that was being activated. So the north node is about one's destiny and, where we're going. And so Ricky Gervais had a destiny moment that night at the Golden Globes in Hollywood. Hollywood was shocked to hear one of their own put them in their place, and the rest of the world made those parts of the night go viral. So the opening remarks will be remembered for a long, long time, which, so Ricky Gervais is living out his destiny. Go Ricky. So if you have any questions or comments, please let me know down below. Like or subscribe. And also, if you would do me a favor, just comment which celebrity charts you would like for me to do. If there's any that you're particularly interested in or have any questions about, I would love to do that. Also, check out my website. It's almost up, still working on it, but I'll have that posted below, and there's lots of neat t-shirts for sale and other astrology information, and it'll be links to my other YouTube videos. So thank you for spending time with me and learning about Ricky Gervais. Have a great day. Thanks.